thank you all, Lisa and Adam, and Sarah, and all who Roland, and of course the incomparable Dr. Lynch. That's always good to see you, Simone, uh, Mike, and my mother told me I should never start calling names, but really I was just working to my brother. Thank you all for giving me an opportunity to actually see my brother. We're both so busy, we rarely see each other. But indeed, thank you all for putting on this webinar. It is a very important topic. It's a topic that's dear to me. My brother, I can't out-talk him. But we did grow up on the bluff, on the lower West Bluff. And my father, I actually live in the house that my dad lived in since he was 5 years old on the East Bluff. 65% of the people over on the East Bluff, on the East Side, do not have driver's license. They've come up with a term called food desert, but in biblical times, I believe they called it famine. And there's no supermarket below 26th Street, either on the East or West Bluff. I have the dubious distinction of being a 33-year member of Labor's Local 603, and I've worked on every phase of the Bayfront Connector. I worked on the 79 exchange. I worked on State Street. They were removing the tracks or relocating them, tearing off the asbestos. And I worked on that dangerous portion from 12th Street to 6th Street. And I'm here to tell you that I agree with Simone. You were very eloquent in your comments, and as Mike said, they were very well thought out and they were factual and on point. I'm embarrassed that I worked on that. As my children ride around like my dad before me was a laborer. Says, I worked on this, I worked on that, I worked on this. But when I see what has happened to the East Bayfront and how it's been decimated, how commerce has been driven around it, even to the point of the McBride Viaduct, and what it meant to the East Side. I watched how all the cul-de-sac roads appeared on all the odd streets. Because I am a laborer, I'm familiar with the very, very wide aprons at 12th, at 6th, at State Street. And even I say at Holland, it's not as wide, but wide nonetheless. It's certainly not pedestrian friendly. I watch as I leave my home in the mornings during the school, and I can't make a left turn because cars are trying to avoid the traffic and the congestion that's already on the Bayfront Highway. And if I can't make a left turn, children can't cross the street to even get to the bus stop. I actually know someone who was killed in a wheelchair, Freda, crossing. She may have been the first person, one of the early ones killed. It was a friend of mine, was killed at 6th in Bayfront. I do remember walking down the hill when it used to be pedestrian friendly, when my siblings and I, our loved ones, our friends, our neighbors, all who lived in New Jerusalem, which is iconic all in itself, how we went to Chestnut Pool on Girls' Day and Boys' Day because there was no co-ed swimming. And I watched how at the foot of Walnut, there was a walkway, a stairwell that we could walk down from Walnut to the waterfront. I walked there at the other end of the park, which is Pontiac Field or Jethro Field now. Also, there were stairs. It was so accessible. They had the drainage ditches. And those of us who, when we couldn't go to Frontier Park, we rode cardboard down those drainage ditches to, yep, you guessed it, to the waterfront. And we were easily accessible to us. I watched my grandfather take his boat and launch it down there, off there where they're now renting water skis and how it's commercialized. And I'm watching the access be diminished. And you can go down there by daytime But as each development goes up, the hotels go up. You got to be out of there by night or whatever. And to me, that's one of the most beautiful time to be down there near the water is at night. Uh, and so I'm acutely aware of what the Bayfront means and how it's divided and how it's directed commerce around the city. Uh, People don't stop at the Shell Station on 6th and Parade. Most people on the other side of Green Garden have no idea what goes on in the city outside of the negativity that they see in the newspaper. They have no idea of the many great citizens and people who live there and grow their gardens that may be even affected by the fumes of the added 10,000 vehicles that might come through there. Uh, uh, I talked about left turns on this side, on the west side of the Bayfront Parkway, but also if you're on the south side of the Bayfront Parkway over by East High School, you can't make a left and barely you can make a right because the traffic is just horrendous. And I'm watching past school buses all day long there, and the traffic wasn't
too long, but the gist of it is that I thank you all for doing this because from a legislative standpoint of view, with everything that's happened in this short 2020 season, and I know this is going on from 2019, it's kind of hard to stay engaged without the residents like yourself uh, and empower you. What you do as activists and concerned citizens and environmentalists, it really does activate us as legislators. And in turn, we're able to empower you, as Ms. Lynch knows, by supporting the things that you, our constituents, put forward. I do. It's very dangerous crossing any of those streets as a for an adult, much less a child or school age children at that. 65% of the people over here on the Lower East Side, don't even have driver's license. And so it's a horrible idea. And I'm very familiar, Brother Maxwell, I'm very familiar with Lakeside in Cleveland and how it's separated, being a lifelong Cleveland Brown and a Cleveland Indian fan, and seeing how we even have to walk over there on game day, how it's very divisive and it's not even aesthetically nice at all. And it's dangerous. And so, in my summation, whatever you guys need me to do as a legislator, and it is not just as a representative of other county, but as a representative of the Erie County Second Legislative District, which encompasses the Bayfront on both ends of it, over by Lincoln, which I know someone who's died there also, and stuff. And so from one end of the Bayfront to the other, Mr. Furman, I think you always thought you were very, very bright and astute and a thinker. And I agree with you as in regards to the roundabouts being placed at the most dangerous or high impact areas. It just makes sense. But sometimes we around here in Erie, I think the people in my neighborhood says it just sounds too much like right. And Mr. Buki says we just have a way of doing stupid stuff. Uh, so you chose another word. I'm trying to be verbiage matters, and so I'm trying to watch my vernacular. But I'm supportive, and I'm in favor of asking for a assessment, environmental assessment, and I disagree with the conclusion that PennDOT that this is without controversy. And I know that most of the people nearer to the Bayfront who are being gentrified, uh, Mike, we have a difference of opinion on some of the EDDC stuff. I like some of the things they're doing, but we should be having the rent control talk too, because the bottom line is if you're not owner down here, you won't be able to live there and enjoy all of the things that we're fighting for now anyway. So thank you all. And please dial me in, keep me involved. Lisa, I owe you a huge debt of gratitude for prodding me. And I thank you for it. So thank you again.